Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We'll be covering the CFP board approving the 5+7 model, the NBA reassessing the G League Ignite, a marathon runner who broke the record for dribbling a basketball, and make sure you stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into the oddities of the day. Before we start, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. Hello, Tate. How are you?
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Okay. So doing okay. I'm a little out of sorts today because my day is so wacky. Normally, my schedule is sun up to sundown. I have meetings and things that I have to do, and I'm here forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck here from sun up to sundown, but I have this giant opening in my schedule. So I have for the first time in a while, I have like 3 hours in the middle of my day that there's
Wow.
nothing, that sounds, that is weird for me.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, do I go and work and get caught up? Or, don't slap me for saying this. Or do I have a big break in the middle of my day? Do I go to the beach?
I would go to the beach. That would be
Because the beach is literally just down the street from
yeah.
me. It's like it's walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my dilemma: be a productive member of society or a freeloader, slacker.
I would say, since you never get breaks, go take yourself a nice little break.
People don't understand. I am like rolling 7 days a week, so it sounds kind of bad that I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, middle of my day, I'm just going to go to the beach.
Eh.
So that's my. But I do feel like it's a Wednesday, so it's kind of like I'm kind of that flat day. This is
Yeah.
kind of like uneventful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm depending on Faith to put some energy in me and wake me up. Faith is like, you're barking up the wrong
Yeah, good
tree.
luck today, honestly.
All right,
All
let's see. What do
right.
you have going on?
So we have the College Football Playoff Board approves move to 5+7 model for the start of the 12-team format. The College Football Playoff Board of Managers on Tuesday voted unanimously to revise the format of the 12-team event to include the 5 highest-ranked conference champions and 7 at-large bids, finalizing an adjustment from the original 6+6 model. The board, which is made of 11 chancellors and presidents from each FBS conference plus Notre Dame, met virtually on Tuesday to finalize the adjustment that was introduced to account for the dismantling of the Pac-12 in the latest round of conference realignment. Washington State President Kirk Schultz, the Pac-12 representative on the board, have been the lone holdout on the change during the board's most recent meeting.
Okay. So this was a matter of time. This was just a matter of time that this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Washington State and the Pac-12 was the main one holding things up.
Mm-hmm.
The original model was 6+6, which would mean all 5 Power 5 conferences got an automatic bid, and then the highest ranked group of 5 team would get in as well. But with the dismantling of the Pac-12, everyone wanted to go to the 5+7 model.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-12 was against this because it kind of would cripple them. I'm very curious about what kind of deal was worked out behind the scenes, because not all of this, in order to change this model, you had to have a unanimous vote, meaning that Washington State would have to say, hey, it's okay to leave us out. And it would be foolish for them to leave them out unless they got some assurances
Mm-hmm.
meaning I think this goes back to, and if you notice, a lot of this whole conference realignment, crazy stuff that's going on with college football, all started because of the collapse of the Pac-12,
Mm-hmm.
which then trickles all the way down to Florida State, to George Kliavkoff being fired. You know, a lot of this all comes from the collapse of the Pac-12. And so I have to speculate what was the deal to give Washington State the ability to vote and say, okay, we're okay with the 5+1. So I'm thinking about it, and it's the top four, pretty much. It's the top four. Let me rephrase it. The 5+1 right now is the top five conferences ranked conference winners.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely that's going to be always the SEC champion, the Big Ten champion, the ACC champion, and the Pac-12. So what is it? So my guess is that they're pretty much saying the Pac-12, if they merge with the Mountain West, most likely it's going to always be that fifth team. My speculation, because you cannot, that would not work. I don't understand how that would work if the Pac-12 would be left out. Why would they vote for this?
Right.
Unless they either got a huge check or they got some assurances.
Mm-hmm.
If this model went in last year, the conference champions would have been Alabama would have been the SEC, Michigan would have been the Big Ten, the Pac-12 champion was Texas, Florida would have been the ACC champion, and Liberty, out of I believe the American Conference, would have been the other team that got in.
Mm-hmm.
The four largest ones would have all gotten a bye the first week, and Liberty would have had to play in the first round, but they would have gotten a home game.
Do you think that they're changing this because of what happened with Florida State? Do you think that's why?
No, this is one time that Florida State was not an issue.
No? Okay.
They had already had it set so that the ACC was automatically going to get a bid.
Mm-hmm.
So an automatic invite to, a buy or an automatic bid into it because it was going to be a six model. All five Power Five conference would have meant the ACC champion, which is Florida State, would have gotten in. And still, it would have been, even in the 6+6 model, Liberty would have gotten in as well. I like this approach, though. This is a really good one because of the fact that it gives the top teams, you're gonna get the top teams in. So when you think about it, Georgia would have made it into the playoffs. Probably Ohio State and Michigan would have made it in. Florida State would have made it in. Maybe even Ole Miss might would have gotten in. Washington and Oregon would have gotten in. It would have been last year. It would have been absolutely amazing. And think about yourself as a Georgia Bulldog alum. It kind of sucked. Like, wait a minute, we were number one. We won the national championship last year, but we didn't get a chance. We didn't get a chance to defend our national championship.
I was so upset. Yeah.
And I agreed with the decision to leave Georgia out. But even though I thought Georgia should have been left out in the 4-team model, which doesn't really think about who's the best team in the nation, if you ask me, should Georgia have been left out? I would have said absolutely, because of the fact that their schedule was so weak. They didn't play anyone, so they had no room for error.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'd have asked me, is Georgia one of the 6 or 7 best teams in the nation? I would have said absolutely they would have been. If you'd have put that 12-team model, would Georgia not been one of the favorites to win it all? Absolutely. Even though I just said Florida, Georgia did not deserve to be in the playoff on a 14 model, I would have had them as one of the favorites to go all the way and win it. This is why the playoff model is the best model, because a team like Georgia would have gotten in. A team
Right.
like Ohio State would have gotten in. A
Mm-hmm.
team like Oregon, who was the real deal, they only lost to one team, Washington, would have been in. You would have gotten the best teams. A team now, the black eye or the blemish on that would have been Liberty. Liberty was 13-0 in the American Conference, and they didn't play. I don't think they really had a tough schedule. That's the scary thing about this model, because it is the highest ranked six teams. So let's say Washington State, Oregon State, and the Mountain West merges together. Let's say Washington State becomes the strong team and they're not really playing anyone. You could do another Liberty situation where you run the table in the Mountain West. Mountain West is tough because they have Boise State and some decent teams, but they could literally run the table, be undefeated, and get one of those spots. And a school, yes, and not one of my favorite schools, but I'm going to mention them, Notre Dame. Notre Dame can go through, run the table, be undefeated, and not have a home game, because Notre Dame isn't in a conference, so they cannot get an automatic bid for being a conference winner. They can only get an at-large bid.
Mm-hmm.
Or a team like, let's say Georgia drops a game to Alabama and Texas, and they're on the outside looking in, and they get skipped because someone ran the table like the Liberty. That's the tough thing about this model. I wish, this is my, people will hate me for this one, so I'm gonna get attacked for it. But I always thought the 16 team model was the best way, where you just say, you know what, winning your conference matters. So we're going to put all the conference winners in. That includes the MAC, the Sun Belt, the American Conference USA, the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, the ACC. All eight of them get in. And then you have eight at large. And then put all the dogs in. I mean, Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, uh, Old Miss, put them all in, and then you have no complaint at that point.
Yeah.
You can't be the Toledo who's ran the table and you're undefeated, but you don't get a vote. Give everyone that wins their conference an automatic bid. Go to 16, but give eight at-large bids. That's what I would like to see. Even when they're talking about the Big Ten wanting to go to a 16-team format, they still don't like the way I want to see it done, which is they still want to have it five teams, but 11 at-large bids, meaning the Big Ten wants to be 16 teams because they have more teams. They want to be able to get more in. The SEC wants to get more teams in as well. So they want to go 5-11 if they go to a 16 team. This vote only goes for this year and next year, and then they reassess things. I think they're going to end up going to a 16-team playoffs, 5 plus 11 at large bids, and it's going to be that kind of model. But no matter whatever model they do, no one's ever going to be 100% happy, because there's always going to be someone left out. There's
Yeah.
always going to be an outsider looking in. If let's say Ole Miss drops a game to Alabama and Georgia, and let's say Texas, let's say they drop 3 games, but they dominated everyone else. they're sitting on the outside looking in. They're number 14 or number 13 or whatever it is. It's like, listen, we lost to the best teams in the nation. We deserve to be in. There's never going to be a perfect situation. But this is the first time with this playoff, though, that I think you truly get a true national champion because you're going to have to win 3 games or 4 games to get in to win the national championship. You know, looking at this, people in Georgia are probably like, Michigan's not really the champion. We should have had a chance to play Michigan. We should have had a chance. Now it's a lot more fair than it's ever been. 12 team playoff, can't anyone say a word about it because you're going to go through, by the time you get through this playoffs, you're going to have to beat 3 of the best teams in the nation. So there's no argument on that. And also, I like the 16 team playoff concept because I would love to mix in a little March Madness in there where you can have an upset every once in a while. Would love to see a Liberty get in there and upset a Georgia. Yeah, I said that one. Uh, so that's my whole take on that. I just wanted to go and give you my 2 cents. What do you think before we wrap it up?
I mean, I kind of agree with you that they should definitely do it like each team from each conference. That seems like it would be the most fair way to do
That's the
it.
most
But
fair way. And I know people are going to be like the MAC, the Mountain West, the American Conference USA, Sun Belt, the guys like that, they don't deserve a bid. But they play football just like everyone else.
right.
And they deserve, if they win their conference, they deserve to represent and be in the playoffs. So
Hmm.
I'm pro that. But I love this playoff. I will be 100% glued to the TV watching it. So it also,
Yeah.
one thing I don't like, I wish the college football would redo the college football schedule because with the playoffs, now it's going to be the national championship is going to be almost to February. It's going to be the end of January
Oh,
now.
wow.
Yeah, I would love that they start the playoffs early, start the season earlier. A month of December, have the playoffs and roll the national championship right into New Year's Day.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. So, but no one's going to vote me commissioner.
No, unfortunately not.
Faith, if they vote me in, you know I'm going to have a cush job for you. You know you're coming with me.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, with that, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the NBA to reassess G League Ignite in the wake of name, image, and likeness.